going on, y'all? It's your boy, one physical therapist assistant. I hope y'all doing all right. Yeah, I just made an interesting observation, right? I just had to make a phone call in my car for about 20 minutes. 20-minute phone call I just had to make in my car after the introduction and everything. But I just witnessed two co-workers I just witnessed. Older people, probably late 50s, maybe early 60s, maybe. But they sat there. Their cars were next to each other, okay? Their cars were next to each other. And they both just got off. And got in the car. Let me know if any of y'all do this with y'all coworkers. And I get it. I respect it. Just got off. Both got in their cars. They were parked next to each other. Both driver's sides were next to each other where they could like talk to each other from the driver's side. They sat there in their cars after they got off for over 20 minutes. Because I know this because I was right next to them. I had to make a 20-minute phone call. So they got off of work. Today is Thursday. They sat in their cars and talked to each other for 20 minutes. Now, the average person might say, you just got off of work, you're going to stay at the job for 20 minutes to talk to a coworker? Are you crazy? I want to go home. Get me out of there. The average person might say that. However, I was just watching them, like casually watching them, and I'm noticing like they were having like a real good friendly conversation. Like I could tell they're close friends. But I get it. I'm starting to notice more and more things about people as they getting older. And he's like I said, they older coworkers of mine. And they just having a good old conversation as if they didn't just get off. You know, the average person, you younger people want to get off. We can get off. We want to go home, forget job. I'm not worried about nothing. I got things to do. I got a million things to do. Let me get out of here. But they just was chilling and talking. Didn't even start their cars up, and it's a little hot. They didn't even start their cars. They were just having a little conversation. I thought that was interesting. Shout out to the older adults, man. I get you. I'm getting y'all. They just took the time to have a conversation. I thought that was interesting. Oh, man. But anyway, y'all, it's your boy, one physical therapist assistant. How y'all doing? I hope y'all are doing okay. Hope y'all are doing all right. I got a story and a lesson for y'all. There's a story and a lesson for y'all, story and a lesson from our future self. Shout out to all the people who did good things back in, and shout out to all the old heads who did good things back in the civil rights era, the segregated era. There's still some of y'all alive out there. I don't know if y'all ever see this video, but I gotta give y'all credit. Let me give you a story about a cool guy. And you know, let me tell y'all what I go through every day, okay? I might get 10 to 15 people on my schedule who I gotta see. Now, out of 10 to 15 older adults, there's gonna be something I learned from at least, the very least one of them, if not all of them. I'm gonna learn something from all of them. But there's gonna be stuff that jumps out. That's what happens. That's why I get in this car and I talk, okay? I wish I would have started this channel a lot earlier, a lot sooner, because I missed so many things that I could have discussed. I missed so many things that I could have talked about that I learned. I worked with a 90-year-old guy today. Just met him for the first day. We hit it off immediately. Did not look like he was 90. I asked him, man, what have you been doing? Oh, I lived a good life. That's key. Ever tell y'all that's key to getting older? Live a good life. Just live a good life. Just do your best to live a good life. I think that goes on all fronts. Health, mental, spiritual, physical, food. Just live a good life. Live a good life. Try your best. Safety. And when I asked my man the question, where is he from? He said, from around here in this area. I'm in Delaware today. In this area. I said, oh, okay. And then I hit him with the where you born and raised. Are you born and raised here? A lot of transplants here, y'all. Like I told you, I always ask people where they're from here in Delaware. I always ask people. Even if you lived there for a long time, it's a good chance you relocated from somewhere else. That's just what Delaware is all about. That's just what Delaware is all about. So I asked him, where is he from? Oh, I was born and raised in a small town in South Carolina. Now, mind you, remember the age I just gave you. Over 90 years old. From South Carolina. The deep, deep down south. You know where I'm going with this. You know where I'm going with this. My man said he was from a time when the racism and the hatred was at an all-time high where he was at. South Carolina. Can't remember the name of the town, but it's South Carolina. And I asked him, you know, how long has he been here in the state of Delaware? He said as soon as he graduated from high school, he got the heck out of South Carolina. I asked him, what made you move? You know, at first I asked him, did you move to Delaware because of retirement? Because that's what a lot of people do when they get older. And he said, no. He said, oh, no. As soon as he got out of high school, he was gone. He said he couldn't wait to get out of South Carolina. Now, all y'all might know South Carolina now is probably a nice place to visit. You know, I got an uncle lives in North Carolina. I haven't spent too much time in South Carolina. I did a few ride-throughs, probably stayed a couple nights, but I got people in North Carolina. And North Carolina is nice. South Carolina is nice from what I understand. But there was a time where it was not so nice towards certain people. All right, let's just say that. And my newfound friend, told me a little bit about it. Gave me a history lesson. He said when he got out of high school in South Carolina, it was still very, very segregated. Very segregated. In your face segregated. Hatred segregated. It was extremely bad. He told me he couldn't get down like that. He couldn't live like that. So he told me one of the reasons he didn't move to Delaware. He moved to Pennsylvania. He decided to move to Pennsylvania. He decided to move to Pennsylvania because even though other places were still segregated, the laws were different behind it. This is what he said. The laws were different behind it. You could still make something of yourself in a place like Pennsylvania. That's what he said. He said not so much in South Carolina as an African-American man. You could still make something of yourself in Pennsylvania. I don't know how he did his research on this, but he said he was gone as soon as he graduated high school. He said he moved to Pennsylvania and became a milkman. A milkman. Any of y'all remember the milkman? I've heard tales of the milkman. I think when I was little, my mother might have used the milkman. That's when they delivered the milk. I think many of them wore white, but they would deliver milk to you in glass bottles. I'll never forget that. Glass bottles. Put them on your porch. They would have, he said they had, what did he say? No, bags of ice. He said he had it under ice in the truck. He said he also delivered ice cream and eggs. I didn't know milkmen delivered all that stuff. He said, yeah, they didn't just deliver milk. He said he worked for a company, I think it's called Clover. You might have heard of them. I remember jugs of milk with the name Clover on it. But he said he had a really good opportunity in Pennsylvania. And he did that for 20 to 30 years. But he said South Carolina, he couldn't do anything like that. He said it was too much hatred. They kept you down. They didn't give you any opportunity. And he said he couldn't take it. He said he was not that type of person. He said, I think he said his grandmother, and he's 90 plus years old. And his grandmother, I don't know, she might have been during some harsh times, but she said she instilled in him. You are born a free man of God. You are born a free man of God. She made sure he learned that growing. She made sure that she put that in him. This is deep. This is an interesting story, y'all. She said she made sure that he knew he was a free man of God. That God gave him he had God-given freedom from the womb. He said there's no way he could have lived during slavery. He said if he would have been born during the times of slavery, he said he would have been dead as a child. That's what he said. He said they would have had to take him out. He said he couldn't do it. He said he could not do it. He was, I guess, rebellious. He said he would have been hanging out with Harriet Tubman back in the day. I said, yeah, I could tell. He said there's no way he could do it. He said, he couldn't do it. He said those people were evil. He said those people were evil. And he didn't use the word people. He said they were evil. And I'm just listening to a story. We were just meeting. Just met this man. Just asked him where he's from, what he did. That's why I share these stories with y'all, man. That's why I share with y'all. Milkman said he did it for 20 years. And then he said he actually got more involved in the community because of what he went through in South Carolina. He got involved with helping the young black men come up in the state of Pennsylvania, trying to, prevent them from turning to like life's a crime and hanging out on the streets like that. He said he did this. He took this task on after becoming a milkman. He said he got involved in the community. He was a community man, and then he somehow got involved with the legislation. Did he become a representative? He got really close to politicians in Pennsylvania. Okay, got really close to politicians in Pennsylvania after being a milkman. Might have been unionized. I don't know that whole trajectory, how that happened, but he kind of like shifted the conversation. He got involved with politicians and a like outreach program to help young black men. And he said that he had found out through his connections in politics, the government of Pennsylvania, he had found out that he was asking me, he said, what was the war that the young black men were coming home from? And I'm like, what war are you talking about? It's a lot of wars. He's like, one of the latest wars. I'm like, talking about Afghanistan, you're talking about the Gulf War, like what war? I don't know what war we talking about. And then I'm like, oh, he's 90 plus. He might be talking about Vietnam. In my head, I'm saying this. Might be talking about Vietnam. I said, you talking about Vietnam? He's like, yes, that's the one. He's 90 plus, so he's a little forgetful. He's like, yes, that's the one. That was the war when the black men were coming home and they were bringing drugs with them. I said, oh man. He was like, I was like, so a lot of the soldiers were bringing drugs with them. He was like, no, not only the soldiers. He said, some of them were. He said, but the government was too. This was his story, y'all. All right. He said the government was bringing the drugs from overseas and putting them in the black communities. The government was bringing the drugs from overseas and flooding them in the black communities with the sole purpose of keeping the black man down, keeping him down. Not giving him any upward trajectory, as a way to keep him down, as a way to, cause a lot of the stuff you've seen in the late 80s and 90s. A lot of the drug wars and crime, a lot of that. He said there were direct efforts to do this by the government. I said, man, I'm listening. I'm deep in this conversation now. I'm like, oh, how did you know this? He said, I became close to a lot of people in government, in small government in Pennsylvania. So he learned about these things. So he started programs to help get the young black men out of these situations, you feel me, off the streets. He's 90 plus years old, y'all. I don't think we hear too many stories about men that old who used to do that kind of stuff back in the day. But he said he couldn't stay in South Carolina. He said there's absolutely no way he would stay in South Carolina. And he said, and I'll admit, I know that it's gotten better. I know things have gotten better. He said, and I will go visit family as things got better. But he was like, it wasn't a place for him. He said it was not a place for him. He wanted to make something of himself. And he said South Carolina was not a good place to make something of yourself because they did not want the black man to make something of himself back then. But he had more opportunity in Pennsylvania. Even though the laws were still segregated, he had more opportunity to make something of himself. And he did. He became a milkman. Now, you might look at that as not making something of yourself, but during that time, that was a big deal for a young black man. Big deal. And he said he after Pennsylvania, he would visit Delaware. He eventually came down and bought a little piece of land in Delaware. Y'all want some numbers? Y'all want some numbers? You know I asked him for some numbers. I'm like, oh, okay, so How did that go? Give me what did you buy? You know, if you don't mind me asking, I always say if you don't mind me asking, how much did you buy a little piece of land? How much did you pay for your home back then? He said he bought it in the 80s, so not too long ago. Long ago, yes, but not too long ago. Got a half an acre of land for $10,000. Built and designed his own home for $80,000. Half an acre of land for $10,000. Built and designed his own home for $80,000. So $90,000 for a home and a little piece of land. His little slice of the earth. I said, I know you know what it's hitting for now. I said, I know you know what it costs now. He said, oh yeah, I keep track of it. I was just looking at it on my phone not too long ago. He said, it's looking pretty good. He said, I've been a blessed man. Very religious guy. He said, I've been a very blessed man. He says he has kids that treat him good. He treated them good when they was younger. Got some really good children. He said he used the "I lived a good life" phrase. You know, they always use that phrase. Shout out to the people who say that. I lived a good life. He used that phrase a couple of times with me, man. I was just sitting there listening to him. We was doing some therapy. He was hanging out, exercising, but I was just listening to him tell his story. He said that people told him, with his story, his unique, specific story, he's had people tell him that he should have wrote a book. He said he's past that now. He ain't gonna do that. But I even told him, I said, you do have a unique story. You have a very unique story. A book would have been nice on that. A book would have been nice on that. That's why y'all should think about writing books. You all got a story. I'm writing a book. That's one thing I have to do. I have to write a book. But yeah, he said he's been told by a lot of people he should write a book based on his story because he was able to get close to politicians, something that a young black man didn't do back in the day. And you know what he told me? So I'm coming to the end of his story. You know what he told me? And this is the lesson. This is more so the lesson here. You know what he told me? He told me that his story would not be possible. His trajectory, being able to go from South Carolina to Pennsylvania, get a good opportunity, a good job at the time, being a milkman. He said he really liked his job, took pride in his work, and getting close to politicians and starting community programs for young black men. He said, and I quote, there's absolutely no way I could not have done this without good white people. That's right. You heard that. Could this man harbor some resentment, racism towards the other races? Of course he could, you know, based off the stuff that he's probably seen in South Carolina. But he said, I'm going to be honest with you. The doors that opened for him and the things that he's seen, the things that he's been able to be a part of, there's absolutely no way he would have been able to do those things without the help of good white people. So what's the lesson, y'all? Just be a good person, man. Just be a good person. And he told me, he said he knows some of that stuff still exists. And he also knows that there's some things that exist still in our government to keep certain people down. I said, yeah, that's very, very true. Very, very true. But he said things have gotten a lot better. Things have gotten a lot better. Whew. So, moral of the story, y'all. We all need each other's help, regardless of how the heck we look, regardless of what race we are. We all need each other's help. You know, just try your best to be a good person. That sums up my man's story. You know, I just met him today. You know, I'm sure he's had some ups and downs, but we laughed, we joked, we hung out, we did some exercise. He shook my hand, said it was real good to meet me. Just met him, so I hope to see him again. But yes, y'all, I love a good story. I love a good story like that. I hope y'all do too. But anyway, y'all, I appreciate y'all for coming through. Help people whenever you get a chance. See what I mean? You help people. You never know what you could be doing for somebody's future self. Just by opening up a door. Just by letting somebody peek in and see what's going on. Oh, man. So, with that said, y'all, respect your elders, y'all. Respect them. Please respect your elders. Help people out whenever you get a chance, all right? Be safe. And I will holler at y'all in the next video.